Well, hello and welcome. There was a ton of marketing news this week that wasn't about a particular bank melting down. Maybe you're feeling a bit of lack of education about the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation and what it really does, or what are low-interest bonds anyway. Or maybe, you don't care about any of that and you're just looking for more education on video marketing or social media. Well, for those latter two, I got something for you. There are two new content marketing programs launched by Twitter, that's right, Twitter, and Sephora that might be right up your alley. Want to know what else these two very different companies have in common? Well, this is 5 minutes of what you need to lead in marketing. Let's roll. Hello everybody, Robert Rose here with the news. It is what's new, but really, it's what's important in the world of marketing. And for the best and best practices in content and marketing, you can always head on over to contentmarketinginstitute.com. So this week, among the turmoil that's going on in the rest of the news, two very interesting launches took place by two very interesting companies. This week, Twitter has launched an 8-part educational series on video marketing and how to create video promos that stand out. Their program called Unskippable is a new series that looks to provide practical advice for all the things you need, to create those doom scroll pausing moments. As Twitter says in the introduction to the course, Twitter's dedicated content production team, I'm guessing they're doing double duty here in HR and finance as well. Anyway, they'll help you feel empowered to create unskippable Twitter content no matter how big or small your budget is. Interestingly, this week also saw the announcement from cosmetics brand Sephora about a new TikTok training program. Now, it's specifically designed for beauty brands. Apparently, the Sephora TikTok Incubator program will get paid TikTok creators, and they'll pair them with beauty brands from Sephora's Accelerate program, which is a diversity, equity, and inclusion program for emerging brands. The program is really to connect these TikTok creators with emerging personalities to learn the best types of impactful social strategies in educational modules. Now, if all that sounds like two interesting and very new content marketing programs, you'd be right. So what is so new or interesting about this? Well, our take here at CMI is that this is two additional data points in a trend that we're seeing in terms of how brands are starting to approach their content marketing education and thought leadership efforts. One of the most common things we've seen over the last few years is how brands will launch online classes or educational webinar series or even full-on digital universities. That part isn't new. The new part is how these brands are starting to differentiate by taking on educational platforms that aren't just extensions of their product or service. In other words, if you're a software company, your thought leadership or education program is most likely going to be on the process or approach that your software solves. Or if you're a manufacturer or your online university, would basically be on how to utilize the kind of products you sell in the most optimal way. Electrical companies teaching electrical engineers how to be better electrical engineers, or software companies teaching marketers how to use marketing technology better. But increasingly, we've started to see innovative education programs come out of brands that are certainly aligned with the company's mission or product offering, but may actually be quite different. Twitter teaching content creators how to do video, and Sephora teaching people how to do better connections with social media, and do so in a way that invests in diversity and equity, are aligned but very different than what has been the product of those companies in the past. This is really quite interesting, and I'm sure we'll start to see other B2B and other types of B2C companies launch these kinds of programs in the future. I could see enterprise MarTech software companies helping marketers to understand finance better. There's a perfect alignment for financial services companies to not just teach financial literacy, but also how to cook or how to do DIY home projects. And in fact, I know one B2B company that focuses on consulting to law firms, and they teach them not just how to manage their law firms better, but how to manage their home life and work-life balance better. Building trust with our audience is all about helping and inspire them do the things they feel are important. A great educational program is an amazing way to start creating that trust so that when they are ready to take a buying journey, yours is the first one they trust most. And that's it. That's 5 minutes of news that, hopefully you can use to lead your marketing strategy. I'm Robert Rose, and remember, as always, it's your story to tell. Tell it well. I'll see you next week.